All right. Welcome to the Hook or Crook podcast, where we talk all things Black and all things money. And again, this week we have something special for you. We're going to do it a little different. It's just going to be me and my good co-host, Silver. And we're going to talk about how to start a business. Today, we're just going to give you like the fundamentals on how to set up a business the right way. Well, I don't want to say the right way, but we'll say a way, right? A lot of people say, hey, listen, I want to do this the legit way. If we're talking about, filing paperwork and things like that, we're not going to get into the weeds of that, but this is maybe about 11 to 12 steps for people who want to start their business. This is going to vary per state. So each state is going to have their own guidelines, but this is pretty much what you'll be doing when you start your own business and you want to basically get on paper. You know, a lot of people say, I don't want to be on papers, but this is when you want to get on papers. This is what you should have did before you requested the SBA funding earlier this year with the COVID. Yeah. This is the process you should have went through, right? With your EIN numbers and all of that. So we're going to give you just the basic, we're going to call this business foundations. Let's just say that, right? So every business should have these core things, these core steps completed. And this will set you up for future things, right? This will set you up to start getting your business credit. This will set you up for a lot of things to help your business once you start get rolling. So before we get into the steps of that, let me check in with my good friend, my good soror, my co-host. Hi, Silver. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
How was your week?
It's been kind of, it's up and down. It's like, when you are starting a new endeavor or a new business, you just have your anxieties. You're like, one day you're like, I got this. I'm gonna be the bomb. I'm just gonna be like, hey. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, I can't. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh my God, I'm worried if I don't do this and I have to pay this. So, and then it just cancel itself out. And today I'm just normal. So how about you?
Well, I'm okay. Listen, I'm hanging in there. We are winding the season down. So this is going to be maybe the second to the last episode. So we're going to wind the first season of the Hook or Crook podcast down, and we're going to take a little break, regroup, and then come back and bring something special and extraordinary for our listeners here. So I've been just, I know we're in the process of planning what season 2 is going to be, bring for us. So, looking way ahead of that, planning for that. But other than that, my week has been okay. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So business foundations. All right. So you want to start a business. What's the first thing you should do? Well, let me ask you a question. Silver, you have a business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a small business owner. I am a small business owner. The first thing, or one of the first things you want to do, is think about what do you want this business to be, right? What is the business? What are you selling something? Is it a service that you're providing? What is the business about, right? And once you've done that, and let's just say you've already got your business plan all together, what are you going to call it? Right?
Buster.
What?
Ghostbuster.
Not who you gonna call. What are you gonna call it?
Yes. Okay. So name. So I'm gonna call it the small business.
Okay. Well, whatever. So that's the first thing you want to think about is a name, and I say that because your name is. A rose called by any other name was still so whatever, right? But that name is important, right? You want that name to be something that is broad, right? Depending on what the business is, you want it to be broad. Depending on what your forward thinking is that you're doing with the business, you want it to be something that you can possibly, use to be to either have other businesses fall under, or it can be very specific, right? It could be, this is going to be Ty property management company, right? It can be that, or it can be something very broad, like Ty Properties, whatever it may be, or Ty Management, or something like that. But you want to get a name, and you want to make sure that name is unique. You want to make sure no one else has that name. So within the state, you can, most states have on their website, on their commerce website or something like that, on the government website, you can go in, you can look up the name that you're thinking about, right? Look it up. And once you put it in, you put in Ty Enterprises or, Silver Enterprises, and they'll let you know if someone else has that name. And if they have that name, you're going to have to move on. Now, you can spell it different ways, and that's fine. You can throw LLC behind it. You can throw whatever else you want on it. But just to make sure that you have a unique name. So, but don't fret, right? So let's just say someone else has your name. That's fine. Like I said, spell it different ways, but you can also have a DBA. And Silver, can you explain to our listeners what a DBA is?
Yes, a DBA is doing business as. So if you have a company that is an LLC and you want to form maybe something else, and you want it, maybe to fall under that company, you can say the X company is doing business as.
Exactly. Exactly. So okay, case in point, you have Silver Signature Marketing, but you also have Soul Travel that is a DBA under your marketing business. So so don't fret. Just you can have a name, but you can also expand, right? And call it whatever you want. So that's the first thing. That's the first step. You want to have a good name. You want to make sure that name is unique. And like I said, most states, once you get into that website, you'll be able to look that up. You can Google names however you want. You can spell them differently. Once you do that, you can register that name. So, all right, I got a name. The next thing you want to do is get a business address. So here's this. Listen, so I'm in a lot of groups. All right, especially like on Facebook and Slack and on all these little groups, business groups. And it's always a debate about this business address. And some people like to use their residential address. And some people say, hey, I have a P.O. box. And other people are saying, no, I use a shared space, a co-working space, or I use some type of company like Regis or Alliance or something like that for my business address. I'm going to tell you like this, okay? Ty uses Regis for her business address, right? It is recommended that you do not use a residential address, your home address, as your business address. This is where you want to separate yourself from your business, all right? An LLC, and we can get in later episodes when we talk about the types of businesses out there where you have LLCs and you have your corporations and things like that. But an LLC in itself is supposed to protect you in some ways and separate you from the business. And this is sort of where you start, right? Now, can you use a residential address? Yes. But once you start trying to build upon your business and you want to get business credit and things like that, you're going to get creditors looking at that and they're going to say, okay, how serious is this person about the business that they're starting, right? And you, like I said, this is where the cream rises to the top. Someone's going to pay $100 a month for a business address using through, either Regis or Alliance, or they're going to pay $10 a month through whatever service. I can't even, like, maybe some P.O. box or whatever that, or nothing at all because they're going to use their home address. Different creditors look at things differently. I suggest you use a separate address. If you do not have a brick and mortar that you operate out of, I suggest you use a separate address from your actual residential home address. What you got, Silver?
Yeah, that is true. And besides, you don't want people finding out where you live.
Yeah.
But you can always, so if you start with, so let's say if somebody did start with their home address, they can just change it, right? At some point, if they wind up signing up for Regis or getting an office space, they can go to their prospective state's website and do a change of address.
So you can change it, of course, for a fee.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, and when I say that, you will, a lot of times, we'll start the business. And it's a lot of, you'll see a lot of memes out there say, hey, just do it. You know, you can perfect it later. And that is very much so true. You know, when it comes to like starting businesses and getting your ideas out there and getting the ball rolling, you want to do that. And yes, you can perfect later, but understand when you are doing that, sometimes it'll cost you more money to go back and fix things and correct things than it is to do it from the start. And so that's why we're doing this show, because we want you to do it the right, well, I'll say the most correct way from the start. And this stuff can get pricey.
I agree, because when I first started my business, I didn't know if I was moving back to Pennsylvania, so I actually started the business in Pennsylvania, but when I stayed in Maryland, it cost me some quaint. But we good now. We good now.
Yeah, so that's why I say, listen, you know, yes, if you don't have the money and you can only do what you can do, and you just want to get that business off the ground, and it, you know, the market is hot for whatever reason it's hot, you know, then go for it, right? But you may have to circle back, and you may have to put out some money to correct some mistakes. And so, in the state of Maryland, you know, where we live, to go back and change addresses and change names and change all types
Everything
of things.
Costs $100.
It's going to cost you some money. It's going to cost you some
money. So we got, the first thing is to find your business name and register at the same time. Just register your business, because that intertwines.
Yeah. Yep. So get your business name and get an address. Okay, let's go into the third name. You want to the third thing is you want to establish a business telephone number. Okay, what you don't want to do here is use your personal cell phone or your house phone number to do this. Okay, this is not
a house phone.
There's a lot of people out here that still got a house phone. If you get that bundle, you get the.
You know what? F that bundle. That's another show for another day. Next,
you're right. So yes, you don't want to use your house phone. You don't want to use your personal cell phone number for this. You want to try to go through some things. Well, what I recommend is using companies like Grasshopper. There's other companies out there that you can use, but you want to make sure you get a local telephone number. You want to get a 1-800 number. You want to get a fax number. Yes, people, you want to get a fax number. I understand it may be outdated, antiquated. I get it, but you still want to have a fax number. You also, like I said, so what I say, you want to get a local number, 1-800 number. You want to get a fax number. Yep, those three things. Okay, and I recommend Grasshopper, and they ain't paying me for that.
And I have a beeper, so if you want to hit me on my, you know, you got the codes, y'all. Y'all my friends, y'all know. For my Ace Blue pager.
Yeah. Hit me on the hip. So if you got a beeper, you understand, go ahead and hit me on the hip with that.
Oh, 911. Let me. Okay.
Okay, so you make sure you want to get these numbers established. All right, so in the state of Maryland, we have something we call a resident agent. All right, some states require a resident agent to be established. This is the person who agrees to accept all your legal mail on behalf of your company. Why do you want this? Okay, because in some states they say someone must be available between business hours 9 to 5 to accept legal mail. So if you're getting served court papers from court, or
ain't nobody got time,
or you're getting sued or something like that, as a business owner, you must have someone there, whether it's you or a representative for your business, to accept that. That's why I say don't use your personal address, your residential address, for things like that. This separates you from your business. So we call these people in Maryland and other states as well a resident agent. They will accept this for this legal mail for you. So sometimes it's a lot of law offices do this for you, and this is a fairly cheap service. I have a service. It only costs me $50 a year. So that's fairly cheap. And they accept all of my legal mail, anything that the state sends me. they will accept on my behalf, and they'll send me emails or whatever if I get something. But thankfully, I haven't been sued for anyone. I try to conduct my business properly. So yes, all of your email, you have to establish a resident agent, and most of your legal offices have have this service, and they can do that for you.
Can you be my agent for my business?
Yes.
Like
So listen, you can be your own resident agent. Okay.
Right.
And
so
you
can
can,
be like,
and Silver, you can be my resident agent if I wanted you to, but you have to be available Monday through Friday between the hours of 9 to 5, because if someone shows up to your house, because I put that down on my forms, to serve me on behalf of my company, and comes to you and you are not available to accept that, however many times they attempt to do so, that is going to put a fine on my company. So yes, you want to make sure you have this service, and it's a solid service to do that. And like I said, it's not just law offices. There are companies out here that cater to that specifically. I know they do that in the state of Maryland. I'm not sure about other states. Check with your state. They'll let you know. But like I said, it is fairly cheap. I only pay $50 for the entire year. Okay, so now that you have your name, you have all your numbers, you have your address, you have your resident agent and everything like that. Now you want to go to your state and actually register your business with your state. Now these, like I said, this can vary from state to state, but in the state of Maryland, this is how we do it. So we'll go on to the state of Maryland's website for businesses. We'll go in and we'll say, hey, this is my business name. We already know it's unique. This is the business address. Here are my phone numbers. Here is my resident agent, and here is my money. Okay. And then you'll go through that whole process on Maryland's website or Virginia's website or Delaware or whatever have you. You'll say, I want to be an LLC, some type of corporation or whatever. You pick that. That's something, like I said, we can talk about in a later episode, but you pick that catering to you. And then once you do that and Maryland says, okay, you're good to go, I got your money, that's fine. You went through that whole process. Now you want to say, okay, now I'm going to go over to the IRS and get my EIN number, right? So now that I'm good with my state, now I want to be good with the feds, with the federales, okay? So you go to the IRS website. This is quick, okay? You want to get an EIN number. You want to put in all the information that you just gave your state. And then within maybe 5 to 10, 15 minutes, they will give you your EIN number.
And it's free.
And it's free. So I think that's IRS.gov. Okay. You get your EIN number. Now you're in business. Okay. Now you are an established business. You're recognized with your state. You got an EIN number. So the govs, they recognize you as well. So now you want the people to know who you are. You got to let the people know who you are. So the next thing you want to do after you've done all that is you want to register that business with all the information that you have with your 411 directory. You can do this for free with listyourself.net, and they will allow you to put your business name up there, your address, your phone numbers, and all of that for free. Now that's going to take a couple of days, but they also have a paid service, which will be immediately, and you can do that as well. But that is listyourself.net, and you want to make sure that you get your business listed in the 411 directory so that you are legit.
Yes. What's the 411, hun?
Let me know, son. So I know some states like New York, I think you have to do something where you have to put your business in the newspaper or classify something like that for a certain amount of time. Like I said, this varies from state to state. Yeah, that's different. I really don't have really that much insight on that. But please just check with, your state to figure out exactly those steps, right? So now you're in the 401 directory. Okay, now you want to start building a little bit more on your business. And the next thing you want to do is establish a website. Okay?
A www dot.
A www dot. You want to have a domain for your business. Okay. And I'm a real particular about this because you have a lot of businesses out here that use a lot of free services, and there's nothing wrong with that. We want you to use, I mean, I'm here for the free 99, right? But when you are trying to like be an established business and you want people to take you seriously, you want to have your own domain, and it's fairly cheap these days. I mean, this is 2020, okay? It is fairly cheap to get your own domain. You want your own .com or .net or .org or whatever for your business, right? So basically for that, and your website doesn't have to be fancy. It depends on what the business is or the service is, right? You want to make sure it's user friendly, of course, but the big thing, you want to make sure that you are putting your information on there so people know how to contact you. And like I said, and you're able to establish email addresses off of that, right? So my business name is Ty Enterprises, and I want to have Tyreese..com as my domain or my website, right? Or Tyreese.net or Tyreese.org. I don't want it to be something like Ty Enterprises /Wix /GoDaddy / blah, 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 where it is not my very own domain. So I would say if you're going to spend some money somewhere, spend it here. Establish your own domain, because you never know, you might get a brand that takes off, and at some point someone's going to want to buy it, and they're going to want to buy that domain, and that domain, for whatever reason have you, may be worth hundreds, millions, and trillions.
Yeah, it's important to have a website, because I know some people, they solely rely on social media. And to some extent, that is okay. But sometimes when people want to be able to see if you're a legitimate company, and they're like, oh, I need to be able to find you outside of social media, then a website is so appropriate.
Yes.
When I do business at Soul Travel, I have a bomb ass Instagram, but people want to see me beyond that. So they're like, do you have a website or somewhere where I can go so I can see, your actual trips? Because sometimes social media, I don't know if you're reposting somebody else's content, if that's originally yours or not, if you're just being a fraud. Not saying that you are, but it's just good to have something else aside from social media.
You're exactly right. And I think one of our past guests, and Tanya Baker, she said it the best. You want to have a place where if, Facebook shuts down on you, Instagram shuts down on you, your customers, your clients, whomever has a place to go to get the information they need from you. So you definitely want to have that. And then, like I said, going into, the next step, it allows you to establish, credible email addresses. And so let's get into the email address, right? A lot of us like to use the free services. You got a Yahoo account. Some of us still have Hotmail. Some of us still have Yahoo.
Hey man, I heard the tone. I have a Hotmail, and it's not for business, but it's, I created that in high school, okay, and I still have my Hotmail, okay. So I'm gonna need y'all to lay off me and these paper checks and my Hotmail account, okay? Gracias.
Hold up. Did you go to high school in the 90s?
No. First of all, yes. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm only 22. Next, carry on.
So listen, your email address, you want it to be a derivative of your domain, okay? Even Gmail, all right? I know a lot of us have the Gmail accounts, right? That's the new millennial thing. That in itself, I mean, when creditors are trying to, establish, when you're trying to establish credit with your business, thing like that, these are things that separate you from everyone else. You want to use, like I said, Tyreese.com, and my email address is, tbrown@Tyreese.com. Right? Yeah, I don't want it to be tbrown@gmail.com /Tyreese, whatever. I want it to be at my domain that I have established. And that just provides a better professional business look. And you think about it, right? So some of us have 9-to-5s. I have a 9-to-5. And Silver, I know you have a 9-to-5. And your work email, for the most part, you have your employers have their own domain, right? So
yes, let's go over at theman.com.
Exactly. So mimic that. That's what you want to mimic, right?
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. And And I often think sometimes, people, they try to be professional, but, I don't want to see a 6'9" in your email.
I do.
Ty Enterprises 6'9" at Gmail.
You never
What
know.
that mean?
I mean, it depends on what your business is, right? If if you're doing parties or whatever, it might be appropriate. But maybe hot girl, Megan is,
Hot girl summer.
Twerk City may not be the most appropriate email address when you're trying to establish maybe credit or talk to people you're trying to get investors and things like that. It may not be. What's appropriate for your market, but just be conscious of that. But you also want it to be at your domain. Listen, people. I know we like to be creative. We are a creative people. That's what we do. We like to put a little swag, a little umph, a little pizzazz, a little zhuzh on everything. But not to say we want to mimic the man, okay? But we also know how to be professional. We can be professional in our own way. And if you're going to do business with me, I want you to be professional. And if somebody is, Twerk City 6'9" trying to do business with me, I ain't saying I'm not going to do business with them, but I'm definitely going to be sitting here looking like, okay, what we doing?
Yes. Use your Twerk City for something else. And you know what? It's okay to have multiple email addresses. And just a sidebar, as a person that often come across people on a regular basis who have to give me their email addresses, I'm wondering why I'm talking to someone who has a Big Papa email address. Big Papa, what you say? Can you repeat that? And I'm going to make you spell it. I'm going to make you repeat it. And we're laughing inside. But that's okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. So that's
Listen, I've had plenty of Big Papas, 58, 69s, upside down. Yeah, I've had it all.
Big Papa is probably born in 1958.
And then people try to spell it like you can't read. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay.
All right. So that establishes, so we need to get the website. That's in our own domain. We need to have our own domain. And then once we get that domain, we need to have email addresses off of that using our own, our domain. And listen, some of the basic ones are like, it's like info at your domain, or, contact at your, whatever it may be. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. All right. Next thing you want to do is what? You want to listen, we got to get to the money. You want to go and establish a bank account. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. This is a show where we are supporting all things Black and all things money. If you are in the area of a Black-owned bank, go to your local Black-owned bank and establish your business account. Period, Pooh. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? Because when you do that and you put your business into this Black-owned bank, you are supplying money to this Black-owned bank that can give loans and other types of financial benefits to other Black-owned, minority-owned businesses in your community. Okay? If you do not have a Black-owned bank in your immediate area, your local area, there is a bank online that can assist you, that you do not, that's not have to go outside of your immediate area. It's called One United. They do all their services online, and you can do that. But me personally, I have a One United account, and I also use a Black-owned bank in the area. Now I'm gonna say I use a Black-owned bank in the area, and I'm very satisfied with the customer service that I receive from this Black-owned.
Look at that.
Because I will not say anything bad about a Black-owned bank on this show here today.
And you should. I have, I just, the online thing is tricky for me because I've dealt with online banking that are strictly online, and it's not Black-owned bank. But it got to a point where I done forgot my passwords. I got money stacking up in there. I can't even access it. Got to go find somebody, figure out how to access my online account, because when you try to go to a branch, it don't work out. But it may be different with One United. I don't know.
It may be. So listen. I promote a black-owned bank. This show will promote a black-owned bank. You do not have to go to a black-owned bank. Okay? You don't. You can go to any bank you choose. You can go to your local credit union, whatever. But the main thing is you want to establish a separate bank account for your business. You do not want to commingle your personal funds with your business funds. That is a big no-no. That is a big no-no. So you want to use all of the information that we just talked about from all the steps above, all the 10 steps above, to go into that bank and establish a business account, a business checking and a business savings, and however many that you need, depending on the service or product or whatever you the goods that you are you're providing. You need to go and establish that business banking account separate from your personal account. And that is, you'll need your EIN for that. You'll need your business address for that. You'll need phone numbers. You need everything we just talked about. You'll need all the paperwork from what the state gives you, articles of incorporation, resident agent, all of that to go into that bank and establish that bank account.
Yes, and if you would like to add me as an authorized user, feel free to inbox us.
Right, send me that credit card. All right, so those are basically, what's that, about 11 steps there? So the last thing I want to say, it's not really a step, but the last thing I want to say is you want to make sure that all of your documents, all of your paperwork, everything that you have, all of your billing has the same exact information across the board. I cannot stress this enough. It must say the same thing across the board. So when you register with the state, that same spelling of your business name must match the IRS when they give you your EIN number. It must match your bank account when you go and establish that, and it must match your 411 directory entry as well. You want everything across the board to look the same, and you want it to have your exact legal name. So if it's Ty Enterprises LLC, Ty Enterprises Incorporated, whatever it is, make sure it is the same across the board. And that about sums it up.
Can I add something as a personal, something that I've benefited from after my first year in business, when I, just solely had the business. My accountant recommended that, you try to keep track of your expenses, right? So of course, that's where the business account comes in. And of course, if you have a business credit card, but there are also apps and programs that you can use that can link up to your business accounts. And at the end of the year, all you do is click a button, and it's like an entire spreadsheet that you can just email to your accountant, and she is happy with you.
Yes. So you want to make sure as soon as you establish that bank account and you start, using it, and you got funds going in and out, you want to make sure you keep track of it. There, like she said, it's a bunch of different apps out there. You got QuickBooks, you got Stessa. I mean, just depends on what your goods and service, your business is. Make sure you use that. I mean, a lot of business owners get caught up at the beginning of the year when they're trying to do their taxes with their accountant. Make sure you have good bookkeeping. It is a task in itself. I promise you, it is a task in itself. But if you stay on top of it, it is beneficial when it comes around to tax time. So definitely stay on top of that. Okay. So listen, I mean, that's the business foundations in a nutshell. And I promise you, if you go through these steps, this will set you up for success to build upon when you want to start getting into other things. Like I said, business credit, establishing credit with your business. And there's people out here that are buying, cars. I buy houses in my business entity. There are people buying cars. There are people buying all kinds of things. When you want to buy equipment to start your business, you need supplies and you need, services and stuff like that. This is what you want. You want to be an established and well-respected business. Yes. This is what you want to do.
And Later on, we can go into what kind of insurance that you may need for your said business on another episode, since I am a licensed.
And if you got any questions, concerns, you want more information about how to, start your business. Like I said, this stuff varies from state to state. Please, hit us up. You can hit us up on Instagram at the Hook or Crook Podcast. You can hit us up on Twitter at the Hook or Crook Pod. And we are also on Facebook at the Hook or Crook Podcast. You can catch this show if you're listening to it on the podcast. You can catch it on YouTube at Hook or Crook TV. Or you can go to our website, which is www.hookorcrookpodcast.com, because we have our own domain. Okay?
That's nice.
And we have an email off of that domain, and it is info@hookorcrookpodcast.com. So you can email us there if you have specific questions, and we can help you with that. You got anything you want to take us out with, Silver?
Yes, I just want to tell all my fellow people who have Hotmail accounts, don't feel slighted in this episode, because I am with you and I will never let that email account go. Other than that, happy growing. We're out. We out. We out.
Peace.
Bye.